Welcome to the Brawling Pit. We talk about all things casual and kitchen table magic like Brawl and DDH. You are listening to episode 55. I'm Johnathan Tang, and here's Jacob.
Ahoy.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm not bad, man. How are you?
I'm pretty good. You know, I'm in a good mood. Everything is great. I just finished watching a pretty good stream online, so everything is like beautiful.
All right, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yep. What are we talking about today?
I'm not sure. I'm never really sure. You always just bring me on here, and you're like, okay, this is what we're talking about. I'm like, okay.
Really? Is that what we do?
Yeah, I mean, it's what we do every time.
All right, I'll believe you.
And that is a true statement. I'm not exaggerating or lying whatsoever. That's completely true. Yep.
All right, I believe you because you said so.
I'm glad that you believe me.
So today we want to talk about, so first off, this episode is for everyone out there, all right? No matter if you are a new player trying to get started in the game, or if you're a veteran player like Jacob, and you want to bring in someone new to the game, like me.
I am none of those things.
This episode is for you, all right?
It's for me.
It's definitely for you. We are going to talk about how to build your first deck without spending $1 million to follow that deck list, right?
This is exciting news.
So you already have some cards out there. Or for example, like last week we talked about how to play with your deck builder toolkit, right? So you bought your deck builder toolkit, you already play with your little brother, you're all satisfied, but what do you do with all those cards now? We're gonna talk about how to build your first deck with the cards you have.
Wait, but Mr. Johnathan, I have a question.
What?
Okay, what if I want to build a deck, but I don't have cards? Can you teach us how to do that?
I think the first step, all right, if you don't have cards, the first step is to ask your friend who is a veteran like Jacob, ask him or her, hey, can I have all your bulks? Because more likely than not, he or she will have a bunch of bulks sitting around, all right?
That is low-key a really good idea. I'm not kidding, okay? Like, if you have friends that play the game, like, competitively, they have bulk, all right?
Yeah, they drop a lot, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, you might be like, oh, but I don't want to ask him for the cards. Or like, it's like packs cost $4 for 15 cards. Like, no. Don't think it like that, okay?
No, yeah.
Bulk, all right? People are lucky if they get $5 for 1,000 cards. Like, commons and uncommons, okay?
Yeah.
If you ask for, like, hey, can I just have your draft leftovers? Whatever. Like, yeah, they're not going to give you their bombs that cost like $20 or whatever, but they'll hand you their... I know I have a friend that I would hand my bulk to if he asked for it. Like, I'd say, yeah, sure, have my $10 in bulk, and he will have more cards than he knows what to deal with. So...
Yeah, because believe it or not, they have more cards than what they know what to do with. So you are doing them a favor to take their bulk away.
Or they know what to do with it, and they're just being a friend by hooking you up.
Or they know what to do with it, and that's to give it to you. All right?
See, I've never had anybody ask for my bulk, so I ended up just selling it. But I know if my friend, like my casual friends, ask me for my bulk, I just give it to them.
Will you give me your bulk?
No.
Oh.
Yeah, you don't count, because you're not my casual friend. You're just
Idea number two, if you do not have friends...
Yeah, what then?
Go to your local game store on draft night, all right? You're not drafting. You go there when the draft is almost done, all right?
I know where this is going.
More often than not, you will see a pile of commons and uncommons sitting around like on some tables. Those are called draft chafts, all right? Chaft is, the leftover when you're doing woodworking, right? Those things that fall from the wood when you're cutting the wood on the ground that you want to throw away, those are chafts.
Are we promoting vulturism here?
Draft chafts
are
the thing that people are they're done with the draft. They don't collect cards. They don't care about their commons and uncommons. They're just gonna leave it around in the local game store and you can pick it up for free, all right?
But we're not promoting senseless vulturism, alright? Look around, ask whose cards they are. If nobody claims them, grab them. But if someone says, oh yeah, those are mine, you know, give them back. Unless they say you can have it.
Yeah, or if you're, you know, if they say it's theirs, pick it up and you run away. I'm just kidding.
No,
don't do that.
What, people aren't gonna like us now.
Yeah, no, definitely don't do that. Yeah, ask around. Hey, can I have these? I have no cards. I just started playing the game, or I just started playing the game again, and I don't have any cards that are in the more recent sets. Can I have all your commons, uncommons?
Like Magic. Okay, as much as people hate the Magic community, there's a lot to like about it, you know. And like, if you just ask, most people will be like, "Yeah, go for it." You know.
Yep. So I mean, every now and then you will see like one or two people who like, okay, no, like those are my cards, and they'll be like really strict about it. But a lot of times people are charitable, right? That's the beautiful thing about the game. We have so many players, and most of them are good people. So
now I
ask around, get your draft chaffs, and
I mean, like, and you know, it's their cards. You know, it's their. It's not like they're being jerks by not giving you their cards. Like, it's not like they have to give you them. They have no obligation to. Now,
definitely not. No.
Me personally, I have actually had someone come up and ask me for my draft leftovers a couple of times. What I did was, I obviously took out the money, and then I took out like uncommons that were worth like over like $3. Or like $2, and I just gave him the rest. So, and that's not that big of a deal, because usually, like, there's not that many uncommons in standard that are worth more than $1, like almost always. And you know, the rare, you only have up to 3 rares usually.
Every now and then, you get something like that, like Sphinx's Tutelage, you know,
Monastery Swiss Spear.
Yeah, Monastery Swiss. Oh my gosh, that is not only like a couple dollars. Jeez.
Yeah. Yep. So, like, every once in a while, but like, yeah, so normally, it's not like, normally you're only taking out like 5 cards max from your draft decks, and then I just hand them to the person asking for it. You know, actually, usually what happens though, I kind of came up with a system, because it happened a few times, and the first time, I was like sitting there unsleeving and like whatever, while like playing EDH, but then like after it happened the first time, I'm like, okay, here's the deal. If you want these cards, you have to unsleeve them, but then you can keep them.
Free labor.
Yeah. I mean, they got. I mean, I think it's a fair trade, right? Just like sit there and unsleeve for like 2 minutes, then you can have what's there.
Yep.
Instead of like making me do it.
It's pretty good. I like that. And then you can walk around and, you know, do whatever you do in a local game store.
Yeah.
Like sharking other people into giving you their trade binder.
That never happened. For the record, that never happened.
Or, you know, trying to scam little kid out of their Jace the Mind Sculptor and give them your Brawl Worm.
That's bad.
I'm just kidding. Please do not ever do those things.
It's sad because those things have happened.
Yep.
Okay. Yep. Anyways, moving on.
Let's
the main topic.
Main topic. Let's say you already have a pile of cards, right? You already have 3 pile of cards. How do you build your first deck? Jacob, how do you approach it? First off, like, you have a pile of cards, you have no idea what you're doing.
Okay.
What do you do? Number one.
Well, hold on. You gave me a set of conflicting conditions. So, first of all, you said I have a pile of cards, but I also have no idea what I'm doing. So my agenda is to sleeve every single card in my pile and then play with it, because I don't know what I'm doing.
But how do you play with it without that?
So I have an unorthodox way of doing things. All right, I start off with 60 basic lands. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
I double sleeve all the lands, and then I unsleeve each land as I need to replace it with an actual card.
Don't do that. That's terrible. That's so bad.
It's not just guys. No, it's not just double sleeve. It's triple sleeve.
Number one thing you do is decide what format you want to play in, because every format has a different type of deck, so to speak. All right. If you're playing Commander, you have a Commander that represents what your deck is trying to do, and then you have 99 other cards, right? If you're playing Brawl, you have a Commander as well, but you only have 59 cards, and that restricts your card pool a little bit, because now you can only play with standard legal cards. If you're playing Standard, well, you have 60 cards, but you don't have a Commander anymore, right? So those are the things that you have to pay attention to. If you're building your Copper deck, well, you don't need to collect those uncommons anymore, so your friend doesn't need to give you uncommon cards, right? Things like that.
So when you're deciding which format to play in, we recommend a standard-ish kind of format because typically standard is the lowest power level and the cheapest format to get into.
I highly disagree, man.
You disagree with those things? The lower,
I
the
disagree
lower power
with,
and the cheapest format?
I disagree with cheapest.
Really?
Yep, absolutely.
Well, what's cheaper?
Pauper is way cheaper.
That's true.
Pauper is way cheaper. You can actually net deck a competitive deck, and it will be like $40.
Oh yeah, that's true.
It'll be playable, right?
Well,
Standard,
the problem with Pauper
you're still spending
is that Pauper
hundreds.
isn't nearly as popular as standard.
It depends on your region, but
Yeah, okay, no, you
decide
actually,
what you
no,
want to
you're
play
right.
with, right?
Unless you're on the East Coast, there's no Pauper.
I'm on the West Coast and there's Pauper. I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm naming a little bit. Just
anyways,
a little bit.
Decide what format you want to play in. Like, right, if your friends have a commander play group that they're playing in, it makes perfect sense for you to build your commander deck.
Oh yeah, go for it. But that's
Right.
if you have if you have a certain play group that you want to play with already, or play groups, then probably build decks for that group. But if you don't already have a play group, then probably go to standard, unless you have Pauper in your area.
Yeah. I mean, look, Jacob and I are a little bit different. Have a little bit different viewpoint here. I'm highly against playing standard as your first format because that's what usually drive people away. But this can be a total different podcast episode.
Yeah.
All right, so moving on, right? You have decided what format you want to play in. What's next, man? What's next? You have your pile of cards. You've decided what format to play in.
Well, for me personally, I like to see what has synergy. That's me.
Okay.
I mean, that's not necessarily what you have to do, but you know, I like to go with like similar mechanics on it. And I think I've told the story before, but for one FNM, I had a bet with a friend where I had to make a deck with commons and uncommons only, no rares and no mythics. And this was a 40-man competitive FNM. Like these all players, except for like 10 of them. So like 30 out of the 40 players were all like PTQ grinders. Okay, and these were good players. And I top 8'd 5 rounds with a common and uncommon only deck.
Wow.
Yep. And the combo that I used at the time was Riddle of Lightning, which is a 5-minute instant, where you get to scry 3 and then you reveal the top card, and then you deal damage equal to the converted mana cost of that card. And I also played Treasure Cruise. And so the combo was play like a burn deck with Stoke the Flames, just burn them out, and then find a Riddle of Lightning, and then burn them for 8, and then kill them.
Wow.
That was the idea, right? It actually was like kind of like a mid-range deck because it was blue-red. It drew lots of cards. It had good mid-range threats. And honestly, there weren't any like complicated like combos. There wasn't anything like Splitter Twin. There wasn't like, oh, for every 1/1 counter you have on the board, like draw a card. It was nothing complicated like that. It was just a good mid-range deck, and it had a burn package. That's all. So you don't have to look for like. It helps to look for things like Infect or like Affinity. Like, I'm not saying you have to literally look for those ones, but like it helps to look for the same keyword mechanics. But you don't have to. It's not a requirement. My approach is you want to look for cards that have similar game plans, and you can kind of pull together an idea from there.
Yeah, what he's saying is look for card interactions, and the way for you to get there, right, is to just start looking for your cards. Look for a card that you think that helps the other card, and then once you find that pair, you're going to find more cards that
help
further that plan.
Yeah. So like exactly what you're saying, right? So like with my deck, the Riddle of Lightning was a 5-minute instant speed burn spell, and I wanted to have high converted mana cost cards to use it with. But on the other hand, Treasure Cruise was an 8-mana card which got cheaper as you cast spells, which is what the deck wanted to do, and it drew you 3 cards. So in case I had a Treasure Cruise in hand and I didn't have a Riddle of Lightning, Treasure Cruise helps me find Riddle of Lightning. And if I have a Riddle of Lightning, that helps me deal damage with the Treasure Cruise on top of my deck. Both of them help each other.
Yeah, exactly. And for another example that's a little bit close to home and standard right now, there's an enchantment called Dawn of Hope, which is 1 in a white, and whenever you gain life, you may pay 2 if you do draw a card, and you can pay 3 in a white to create a 1/1 white soldier creature token with lifelink, right? So you look at it, okay, I really, really want to, number one, draw cards, and oh, it also makes tokens. So you're probably looking through the same set, and then you're like, oh, a Johnny's Primate, that does something when I gain life. It gets really big when I gain life. Okay,
Yep.
that's something scary that I can take advantage of. And then you keep looking through your cards, and then you're like, oh, I remember I make tokens. Maybe Divine Visitation is a thing, right? Divine Visitation is 3 white for an enchantment that says if one or more creature token would be created under your control, that many 4/4 white angel creature tokens with flying and vigilance are created instead, right? So you are basically paying 4 mana for a Sarah Angel, which is really OP, as we've mentioned in a recent episode when we talked about Modern Horizon. 4 mana Sarah Angel is quite something. Just keep looking through your cards for interaction, and once you find interaction, find more cards that helps with that plan, and see if you can build a deck out of it.
Excellently put. Excellently put. I couldn't have said it better myself.
And they don't necessarily have to be expensive cards either.
Hopefully, they're within your pile of cards that you've got. Hopefully. And
Yeah.
if you do have to go out and get stuff, maybe hopefully they're not really that expensive, because
Yeah.
it can be daunting looking at if you're a new player, looking at these cards, these small little cards that you get 15 of for $4 in a booster pack, or if you have friends, you can just ask and you get 1,000 for free, basically. It can be daunting to think one of those could cost upwards of hundreds of dollars. Like it's so we're not advocates here of just jump right in and spend all your savings accounts on EDH decks. Hopefully, what you need, if you have to go get it, is on the cheaper side.
Yeah.
And since this is targeted to newer players, kind of, if the card you're looking for is in a standard set, you might be tempted to like say, oh, I can just buy booster packs and hope I get it. We don't recommend you do that, because typically it's cheaper just to go buy it individually than to buy the booster pack and hope you get it.
You lose the thrill of opening the pack, but the value you get is
You
know,
save your money.
Yeah, you're getting the bang of the buck. You got the card you're looking for exactly, instead of opening 1,000 packs hoping to get that one card.
Yep. So
Yep.
don't do it. I mean, we've all done it. Anybody that says I've never done that is lying to your face. We've all done it to try and get lucky. Some of us have gotten lucky, some of us haven't. I'm in the latter half, not gonna lie, but
I've never done it.
Anyways,
Okay, so
yeah.
so you found the interactions. You saw a lot of interactions, right? What are you gonna do next? You don't have a deck yet. You found a bunch of cards that do things together.
Well, the other thing that we forgot to mention is when you find those cards, even if they're just remotely similar, set them aside so you can get to them easier later. That should be obvious, but for the sake of being as specific as we can to a reasonable degree, take
Being
them out.
complete. Yep.
Yeah, set them aside, take them out. Now, the next step is to look through your pile. Hopefully, you have a subset of your big pile, but you still have more than 60 cards, hopefully, to look through so that you can pick and choose and take from the cream of the crop. You want to look through that pile again, and the pile that you set aside, and you want to see which cards seem really good and which cards kind of seem not that good. And you want to separate those into 2 piles, the really good pile and the not so good pile. And
yeah, it's kind of like building a giant seal deck.
yeah, I mean that's basically what we're kind of saying. You want to get all the good stuff, the really good stuff. And this isn't an objective process. Okay, we say what's good and what's bad. But for the purposes of keeping it simple and easy for the newer player, you don't need to worry about, well, I might be wrong or I might be right. Just use your best judgment. Just guess. You might be wrong, so what? Who cares? Alright? If the card seems good to you, put it in the good pile. If the card doesn't seem that good to you, put it in the bad pile. It's not a huge deal if you get it wrong. I mean, that's part of the learning experience anyways. So just make 2 piles, what seems good, what seems bad. Or not as good.
Yep.
And then from there is where we kind of get quantitative a little bit. Because now you have to decide, do I have enough of my good stuff to make a deck?
Yep.
And if you don't have enough of that good stuff, then you need to add stuff from the not so good pile.
Another approach to it, actually. We talked about mechanics a lot, right? But you can also build your decks on a theme instead of a mechanic. And this is more common around like commander players, where they don't necessarily want to build a 10 of 10 good deck kill you on turn 3 kind of thing. Right? Those are bad memes. Like, what if they want to build a 1 out of 10 but really, really thematic 4 flows deck, right? So for example, instead of going bottoms up, you know, getting the mechanics first and then build into it, you can do top down, which is you start from the theme. So for example, I built a commander deck that runs all the gods. I want to have all the creatures with the creature subtype god,
and that's not even necessarily good. It might be good. I'm not saying your deck's bad, but like, that doesn't necessarily have to be good. Maybe he really wants the flavor.
Yep. You just really want the flavor. It doesn't have to be good. It can be something French. Like for example, you can have a deck with like all male characters, right?
Yep.
But let's go back to my god example. I have a deck with all gods in it, right? And then I keep reading those cards and try to find combination of mechanics, things that they do together. And then I notice, well, 20 of these 23 memes have the keyword indestructible in it. How do I take advantage of the indestructibility? And also, 15 of these memes have a thing called devotion, where they care about the number of color symbols on the battlefield. Well, that's not easy to get to, right? So from there, I derive 2 things. Number 1, I play a lot of hybrid mana cards. Because if you're playing hybrid mana, it will contribute to both the colors for the devotion. So for example, if you're playing something with Boros, then you have 2 devotion to white and 2 devotion to red. Another thing is, I look at, okay, indestructibility, that's really good. Well, what if I push the theme even further and play things like Wrath of God or Damnation, things like that. So it becomes a board wipe deck. And then I found the commander, which is Child of Alara, literally a board wipe on a stick. It is white, blue, black, red, green for a 6/6 with trample. When Child of Alara dies, destroy all non-land permanents, and they cannot be regenerated. So all of a sudden, board wipes in my deck and even in other people's deck are really asymmetric. I have changed the rules of the game for just me. And that's something that you want to push towards when you're building a deck anyways. So I guess this story is trying to say that you can build not just from bottom up and go from mechanics to something. You can also go from having a theme to top down into something from the theme.
Right, and so with Jonathan's approach, you would still take the good pile versus bad pile. It's the same thing, it's just instead of a mechanic, it's a theme. You still have 2 piles, that doesn't change. And then once you got your good pile, you add lands to this pile as needed, and you have your deck. And you might be thinking, well, good pile, I only took aside, you know, mechanics cards, but like also you should take aside creatures that will fit your plan too, spells that will fit your plan too, everything, the whole thing, all cards that will fit your plan, separate into a good pile, separate into a bad pile. Now, if your good pile is complete enough, you have enough creatures, you have enough spells, or like non-creature spells, you have like your instants, enchantments, all that stuff you need in addition to all the core parts for your deck. The last part is to add land.
And lands, believe it or not, is very important.
Oh yes. Don't get too lazy on the lands. I mean, don't get to the point where it's like, I don't know how many lands to play and it's paralyzing me and I can't play this deck anymore. Like, I mean, that's not, don't get it to that point, but like,
yeah.
You don't just want to be like, I'm going to throw in 20 lands and it's probably good enough. There's a little bit of thought.
That's pretty bad. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a little thought that goes into your lands.
Yes. So
now, general rules of thumb. Aggressive decks usually go on the side of 20 to 22 lands. Usually, if you're playing a 60 card deck. This is assuming you're playing a 60 card deck. Alright. If you're an aggressive deck, 20 to 22 lands. If you're a mid-ranges deck, 23 to 26 lands. And if you're a control deck, 26 plus lands. That's usually about where it lands. Your mileage may vary. You know, you're gonna have to play around with it, but that's about the rule of thumb. And for Commander, we have a Commander expert right here. What are the land, tiers for you?
Oh, that's very flattering. So in Commander, it's harder for you to find aggro decks. So in general, let's say you're just playing a regular Commander deck. You want to have around 37 land. If your curve is super low to the ground, maybe it's okay to cut to 35. I wouldn't go any lower. I wouldn't go any lower ever. If you have a deck that cares about lands, like you're playing Titania, or if you're playing Gittrot Monster, things like that, then you want 40 or even sometimes more than 40. Or if you're playing a Commander meme deck, for example, Ashling the Pilgrim, you can go up to 99 mountains, and that is acceptable.
Yeah, and there will always be exceptions to these rules. Like every deck is different in some sort of way. Most of them do fall under these rules, but I mean, sometimes it's not. Like, an example is if you're playing Legacy, you probably are only playing 19 land. I'm serious. Even if you're playing, like Control, you're probably still only playing 19 land.
It depends. I mean, there are times where your deck has no lands.
Yeah, so, I mean, there's Charbulcher that only plays literally only one land, sometimes two. Or you're playing lands. There's a deck archetype in Legacy called lands, and that's like the deck is literally half land. I'm not kidding. So yeah, there's always exceptions, but if you're not sure, try out one of those things, those tiers that we suggested, and if it doesn't work, change it.
Yep.
Now, what's our last step?
The last step is to keep refining and tweaking your deck. Your deck is never 100% complete. Even if you think you're done, the moment the new set comes out, you will have new tools that you can add to your deck. So when the new set comes out, your friend or you can go to your local game store and get more draft chaffs to add to decks. Yeah, so that's what we do. Even when we are building our decks, we still look through our collection and look for interactions and look for themes and then build from there. But what do you think? What do you do? I want to know what you do. Or what are you going to tell your friend who is new to Magic to do? Let us know on our social media. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter at Brawling Pit. Find us on Reddit at r/Brawling Pit. You can email us at brawlingpitmtg@gmail.com. Or you can visit our official website at brawlingpit.com. As always, I've been Johnathan, and he's been Jacob. See you guys next build around. Hey Jacob.
Hey.
Have you heard about the next set, War of the Sparks?
No, I have not.
Well, War of the Spark. What do you think that means?
What
does the spark mean to you in Magic the Gathering?
Well, if we're being honest, when I think spark, I think of some random creature type, like elementals.
Sure, but have you heard of a thing called Planeswalker Spark?
Oh.
Next set, the third Ravnica set, will have 36 Planeswalkers. And every single pack will have at least one Planeswalker in it. They're doing the Dominarium beam again, but replace all instances of Legendary with Legendary Planeswalker. It's gonna be epic.
That is a lot of Planeswalkers, man.
Yeah, what do you think the limited is gonna be like? Because I personally I'm looking forward to the set, but am I looking forward to the limited environment?
I don't know, man. I'm gonna give it a shot. You know, I'm not just gonna say it's gonna be bad. Because I mean, you know, we haven't
Yeah,
played it yet. But
but let's. I mean, nothing stops us from speculating a little bit. What do you think
uh,
the environment of drafts will be like when everyone is playing Super Friends?
very snowbally. Okay, the reason why I think it's gonna be snowbally, is because you know if you land your planeswalker first, planeswalkers in limited outside of creature damage are very hard to get rid of.
Okay.
So if you land your planeswalker first, and you land a board first, it's gonna be very hard for your opponent to catch up. And because of how we talked about with tempo and planeswalker abilities, you get free abilities every turn. It's just I don't know. We'll see how it goes. We have no idea what these planeswalkers do, but if they're anything like the planeswalkers as we know them are, this is going to be very snowbally.
Yeah. Yeah. It's gonna be hard for. I mean, it is speculated that there will be uncommon planeswalkers. We don't know if this is true, but it's speculated that there will be uncommon planeswalkers because let's be honest, there are 36 planeswalkers.
Yeah,
right?
there's no way that they're going to have 36 mythics ever. I don't think there's ever been a set with 36 mythics.
No. So there are going to be something at rare. There are going to be
Yeah, or
maybe
I guess we're just
uncommon.
yeah, or we just have 36 mythic rares a set. I don't know.
Yep, and that would be pretty funny because that means all the packs will have one planeswalker in it, and that means all the pack will have one mythic in it.
Terrible.
Yeah, but I think it's gonna be interesting. We have never seen anything like this. Pretty excited that they're doing this. They nailed the marketing campaign by showing you some of the planeswalkers on stained glasses. We're seeing Gideon, we're seeing Liliana, we're seeing a lot of older walkers too. Ashnok is back. You know, the guy from Theros.
Ashiok?
Ashiok.
I hate Ashiok.
Well, he is back. Probably
Uh,
representing the blue-black color pair on this plane. It's pretty exciting. So I'm looking forward to how the set rolls out. I'm looking forward to the set as the spoiler start rolling out in the following month. All right, in April. The spoiler season starts in April.